Cardiac muscle cells are much smaller than skeletal muscle cells, although they do possess visible striations due to the overlapping bands of myosin and actin proteins, which create the contractions of cardiac muscle cells. And recall that we also saw bands of myosin and actin in the skeletal muscle cells as well, serving the same function in those tissues. Individual cardiac muscle cells are interconnected both electrically and mechanically, so that activation or stimulation of a few cells will trigger activation of nearby connected cells, and so on and so forth. This property is referred to as a functional syncytium. Most cardiac muscle, around 99%, consists of contractile cells that generate the force of the heartbeat and actually pump blood. The other approximately 1% are the specialized cardiac muscle cells of the intrinsic conduction system, which function similar to nervous system tissue. Contractile cardiac muscle cells have light and dark bands of actin and myosin proteins, just like in skeletal muscle cells. It possesses higher numbers of mitochondria than in skeletal muscle because cardiac muscle is highly dependent on those mitochondria to make ATP. And because of this, cardiac muscle requires continuous oxygen delivery, which explains why even if blood flow is slowed or cut off for a few moments, such as during blockages to coronary circulation, that this can lead to damage of the heart muscle tissue. Cardiac contractile cells contain a specialized protein called myoglobin, which functions to bind and carry oxygen in the muscle cell, just like hemoglobin does in the erythrocytes, and this ensures that there is plenty of oxygen available for the mitochondria of the cardiac muscle cells. Adjacent cardiac muscle cells are joined by intercalated discs, which are cell-cell junctions that contain both gap junctions and desmosomes. Gap junctions allow calcium to pass between adjacent cells. That serves to electrically connect the cells together and get them to depolarize simultaneously, or at least in a wave-like fashion. And desmosomes function to mechanically connect adjacent cells, which prevents tearing of the cardiac muscle tissue during contraction.